I'll play Stitcher Supplier for 1 single mana. With this trigger on the stack, I'll sacrifice it to Flare of Malice. But yeah, this trigger will resolve after the Void Ogre gets sacrificed. So maybe you can hit a second Vengevine? No, but that's fine. I will not complain. We have a Vengevine. Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your Dredge guy, and today we are back to Modern with our very first CrabVine build here on this channel. This is not my own list. This list was sent to me by Adrian, and his list is very sweet, super sweet, because it is not exactly a Dredge build. Of course, we have some Dark Blasts lost there in the sideboard, but seeing this list, I can see some room for some improvements, and maybe you can include some Dredge cards in the future. But this is our first time playing this type of deck here on this channel, and I want to respect Adrian's list. It was his submission through my Patron, and if you also want to submit your own deck lists, go there, patreon.com/thedredgeguy. So let's analyze this for a moment. Adrian wants to play a Vengevine deck. So Vengevine is a card that a creature that enters the battlefield from your graveyard if you cast at least two creatures on your turn. So when you cast your second creature on the cast trigger, Vengevine also triggers and enters the battlefield. And this is a 4/3 haste, sometimes with flying, because we have Wonder in our deck and we have so many islands. Let's see the mana base. My dear Adrian is including 9 fetchlands, and I think this is the minimum, of course, because we have Hedron Crab, which is a great enabler. If you have 1 or 2 copies of this card, you'll feel like you're playing Legacy instead of Modern, if you have 1 or more of those cards on turn 2 in play. And also a couple of Watery Graves and a couple of Surveil lands. I'm not sure about 2 Surveil lands in this list, but let's try, right? This will be my first time playing this list. 1 copy of each basic land, and also some room to Boggart Trawler and sink it to Super. Just some silver bullets that can be useful in some situations. And of course, Cephalic Coliseum. This deck plays with Bloodghast, but no Life from the Loam. This deck doesn't have any Dredge cards in the main deck. But you can manipulate the top of our deck with Otherworldly Gaze, so maybe you just naturally find your late game lands if you need them. Creeping Chill is incredibly good in this metagame because it is so aggressive. We have Stitcher Supplier as a mill 3 cards spell in a 1/1 body. And this list doesn't have special interactions between zombie creatures. We don't have Gravecrawler in this list. This is just a value creature. And we also don't have any ways to sacrifice it. If you consider our sideboard, we have Flare of Malice, so it's a way that we can sacrifice Stitcher Supplier for value, but this list still doesn't have any other way to sacrifice Stitcher Supplier. But it is a good card if you want to threat mill 6 at any moment of the game. If your opponent attack you, you can block and have some value after that. Adrian is testing Winter Night Stories, one of our great modern cards from a recent set. Winter Night Stories can draw you 3 cards and can be casted from your graveyard. Just tap in 1 creature with 4 power, like Vengevine, for example, and then you can draw 3, discard 1 or 2. And this is interesting because sometimes you can have a Vengevine, but it is not the right moment yet to attack and finish the game. Maybe you need 1 more turn to find Wonder, for example, and then you can just cast Winter Night Stories and try to hit it. Psychic Frog is a great enabler, and this is a Dredge card in its heart, like I always said here in this channel before. Everyone thinks Psychic Frog is a tempo card or a controlled card, and I think this is a Dredge card, especially in Modern. It does everything. It draws, it discards, it puts counters on itself. It can even exile some cards from a graveyard if you need to in response to a Surgical Extraction, for example. And Overlord of the Baelmurk. This avatar, this enchantment creature, is an interesting addition to this deck because for only 2 mana, it counts itself as a cast trigger, right? You are not putting 5/5 immediately in play, but then you can grab anything from your graveyard, like a Stitcher Supplier for a single black mana, for example, or maybe a Crab, or maybe a Psychic Frog, and on turns 3 or 4, you can trigger your Vengevine. So this is an interesting addition. This card will probably be incredibly good against control, not so fast against Prowess decks. Let's see how this card will perform in this league. What about our sideboards? Oh, and of course, we have Bloodghast, but we don't have Life from the Loam. So we have so many things to observe, to learn from this strategy with today's metagame, because this could be one thing last year. What about now? Does this deck plays the way we imagine it can play? I mean, it is fast enough. What about our sideboard? Talking about speed, Gemstone Caverns is there, but only one copy. So this is just another silver bullet from Adrian. Instead of playing 3 or 4 like some players do these days, only one, and if you hit it when you are on the draw, you will feel amazing. It is legendary. Gurmag Angler. This is a blast from the past. I'm not sure if Gurmag Angler can still be useful here, because from my perspective here, watching the metagame, the modern metagame evolve in the last few months, I'm not sure if Vanilla 5/5, even if you play this on your turn 2, will be enough, even if your opponent has cards like a Gravedigger's Cage or something like that. In Modern these days, the graveyard hate in artifacts is something like Soul Guide Lantern, cards that can exile your entire graveyard, but our opponents will usually have more than that, so I'm not sure. But as I said, I will play Adrian's list. I'm just doing a quick view of what I feel this deck might achieve in our today's league. Consign to Memory is a great card, and it is being more and more expensive here in Magic Online economy, because everyone needs at least 2 copies or maybe more than that in their sideboards. And I think our deck is probably soft to Eldrazi decks, so including 4 copies of Consign is probably a good idea. 2 copies of Surgical Extraction against some other graveyard decks. 2 copies of Dark Blast, probably against Energy and other aggro decks. And Flare of Malice. This is an interesting card because it is a free removal spell, but you always remove the most expensive creature from the other side. So if you have a Murktide Regent, your opponent will need to sacrifice it. But if they have several small creatures, this card will not be that good. Again, this was probably pretty good at some moment against blue-black control, blue-black Murktide. But now that Prowess is everywhere, I'm not sure if we will include Flare of Malice that much in our deck after sideboarding. But I will not change a single thing of Adrian's deck in this first CrabVine league. But after this league, I will immediately play my own version of this deck. So if you're here on the channel watching this for the first time, and if this video was released today, come back tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll have another video with my own take of this deck. And maybe the deck is already pretty good and we don't need to change that much. But let's see how Adrian's list will fight Magic Online's metagame. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you're enjoying this new CrabVine list here with me. And let's jump into today's video right now. I want to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Guys, you are awesome, and I can create content because of your continuous support. If you also want to help me as a content creator, please go there, check my Patron page, patreon.com/thedredgeguy. See you there. Round 1, we are paired against Fran Campos. We are on the play. I have my glasses here somewhere. Okay, Creeping Chill in our starting hand is obviously bad, and we don't have a great hand, even if this was a mulligan to 5. Maybe if this was a mulligan to 5, I would keep it, but with 7 cards, this is a mulligan. Oh, just black mana, Creeping Chill again. Let's go to 5. Okay, this is our best hand. Let's keep all of our enablers and put Prized Amalgams back. We are on the play. If we have a crab on top, I think I prefer to cast Otherworldly Gaze instead of Stitcher Supplier. So let's try to hit something, maybe a crab. Even Overlord would be a good addition to this starting hand. I'll just pass a turn here. Let's see what my opponent is playing first. Oh, artifacts. Pithing Needle. They will probably name Cephalic Coliseum, so I will not reveal anything here. And Cephalic Coliseum is not that good in our deck. It's just another way to draw 3, discard 3. Since we don't have Dredgers, it is just a selection effect to the late game. So that's okay. We can yield until our next end step and cast Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, not exactly what we want to draw. Creeping Chill is there. We drained 3. Let's draw here another land. So now Bloodghast will enter the battlefield. In response to that, I'll crack Polluted Delta, grabbing Watery Grave, untapped, and I will cast Otherworldly Gaze here, because maybe we can hit a Prized Amalgam. Not a Prized Amalgam, but other 2 Bloodghasts for next turn. That's fine. And Psychic Frog is a good card. So because of that, I will not cast Stitcher Supplier this turn. That's fine. We are slow, but we have a good card on top. Let's see what else my opponent is doing. Hopefully we'll find some other enablers or threats. Psychic Frog is especially good in this deck because we can cast Winter Night Stories easily with a creature with at least 3 power. But again, this is not a Dredge deck in the main deck, so Winter Night Stories will always be a draw 3, discard 1 here. Or maybe 2 if you want to discard some cards. Okay, we'll pass the turn here. My opponent is passing the turn. And we'll draw our Psychic Frog. But my opponent is representing Metallic Rebuke here, so I will not immediately cast Frog. I will first cast Supplier here. Let's see if my opponent will counter that. Yeah, they want to counter my Supplier. That's fine. And now I'll play my Polluted Delta. Bloodghast can enter the battlefield first. And I'll crack Polluted Delta here. We probably don't need 2 black mana in the same turn playing this deck, right? Maybe if we have an Overlord and then Supplier. Okay, let's grab Water Grave. Untapped, down to 15. And I'll cast the Frog. Let's attack with 1 Bloodghast. We are Hellbent. My opponent has 5 cards in their hand, so this is not over. My opponent can even win the game in 2 turns. Let's see what do they have. Urza Saga is okay, not the fastest answer. They have 3 mana to work with. We are threatening 8 damage next turn. Oh, Portable Hole. Alright, my opponent will get rid of Psychic Frog. Yep. Now it's interesting here. I can cast Otherworldly Gaze, but I cannot crack Cephalic Coliseum. I can even cast Winternight Story, step in a Bloodghast. I'm not sure if this is better than just attacking here. So I think I'll just draw. Oh, a 3-1. Let's attack. I'll attack my opponent, dealing 6 damage, unless they have an answer. Casting this as a 3-1 is interesting, because now, if my opponent's plan is only creating constructs, we'll put them down to 1 next turn. So on the other hand, I could just play it as a land, so we can have twice 2 Otherworldly Gaze available to us. Let's play the Goblin. It is more aggressive, and my opponent might see themselves in trouble. Targeting my opponent's graveyard. And now my opponent draws, Urza Saga goes up. Oh, the new rule, considering Moon Effects, is already programmed here on Magic Online, so if we had a Harbinger of Decease, for example, this would not kill Urza Saga. Urza Saga would still be in play. So maybe this is just the incredible buff to Urza Saga decks in Modern and Legacy. Now I think I will cast Otherworldly Gaze here on my upkeep. Let's tap Cephalic Coliseum. Supplier is interesting because it's a mill tree, but land is even better because it represents another Otherworldly Gaze. So let's put you and you in our graveyard. Let's skip Island, because now I can attack. If my opponent blocks a Bloodghast, it will enter the battlefield again. Let's attack with everyone. And we might have a Creeping Chill on top. Yeah, my opponent's plan is just block one of our creatures. Probably the Troller. Yeah. My opponent is down to 1. Now, Creeping Chill on top, please. No, only lands. 3 lands. Let's put everything into our graveyard. And we pass the turn. At this moment, my opponent cannot tap Spiral of Industry for colored mana. Urza Saga goes up, 3rd chapter. Shadow Spear is a smart choice. My opponent now can gain some life back. It might be a good idea to hold this construct. Yeah, my opponent can attack here, but you never know if I will have my 4th Bloodghast with haste. Let's see what they are planning. Okay, my opponent will be aggressive. They will attack. We'll come back to 7 life. They might have another Portable Hole here. Oh, Tamio instead. And Emery. Now we will draw Winternight Stories. We can cast this now. If we have at least Wonder, if we draw Wonder, our creatures can fly, we can fly there, but Tamio can block. Yeah, I think this is unfortunately over, but let's see what my stories will find. I will tap Cephalic Coliseum here. Crab, Supplier, Overlord, not the best. Let's discard a creature. Crab is the worst creature considering what we have here, no lands. And I'll play Supplier. Maybe you can hit 2 Creeping Chills. 1. That means we win. My opponent is down to 2. And now we attack. Creeping Chill is so busted. This is just a silly card, right? Creeping Chill is so silly. My opponent conceded. We managed to win game 1 against all the odds. Now we'll include the Gemstone Caverns. I think I would just side out 1 Cephalic Coliseum here. I don't want to side out one of our fetchlands or black mana. And what else? Consent to Marry might seem good against this deck, but actually my opponent will have so many blue cards and not that many colorless spells. This could counter an Urza Saga trigger, but especially on the draw, I don't think this is relevant. Surgical has some text if you consider Emery shenanigans, but I don't think we have that many good things going on in our sideboard against this deck. My opponent probably will bring Graveyard Hate in form of artifacts and maybe something else. Dark Blast against an Emery, this is just too sketchy. But I like Dredge, right? So maybe including some Dark Blasts, trying to hit chills faster. What is not that good in our deck against this? I'm not sure, guys. I think I will not over sideboard here. Let's just exchange 1 land for another. This is This is not a good matchup, I think. Okay, we have 2 Vengevines in our starting hand. I don't like this hand because we don't have any ways of discarding Vengevines and Amalgams here, so let's mulligan. Okay, this is interesting because we have a Gemstone Caverns. We can cast Otherworldly Gaze on my opponent's turn, on my opponent's upkeep, actually, trying to hit more lands. And then if we hit that, we can have a turn 1 frog, discarding 2 Vengevines. Yeah, let's keep that. This can work. This is not unbeatable, but this can work. We'll need to exile something to put Gemstone Caverns in play. So we cannot have 2 Vengevines here. Okay, let's put 1 Vengevine back. I'll play Gemstone Caverns, yes. Exiling Amalgam, I think. And I will immediately cast Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, we have a land. So we already have turn 1 Bloodghast and Psychic Frog. After that, it's not that easy. My opponent has Mishra's Bubble, Mox Opal, Darksteel Citadel, Lava Spur Boots. They are representing Metallic Rebuke again. Not anymore. Alright, so we have land, we play it, Bloodghast triggers. We'll definitely cast Psychic Frog here, right? So I will not even consider casting Otherworldly Gaze, especially because my opponent is not representing Metallic Rebuke, so let's cast spells. They probably have Portable Hole, but we had a mulligan, so it is what it is. This was our turn 1. So Gemstone Caverns, good card when you find it. My opponent plays Spire of Industry, Mox Ember, and that's it. Weird. That's weird. We draw a creature? Creeping Chill, unfortunately. So now what? Let's attack, right? Attack with you and you. I will discard Creeping Chill here. No use for that. I will discard Vengevine too. Okay, it seems that everything is happening. Psychic Frog triggers and draws a Swamp. Swamp is good. Okay, so let's... Do I cast Supplier here? If I cast Supplier, I will not have an easy way to bring back Vengevine. So I think the best thing to do is just cast Otherworldly Gaze first. And for that, I don't need to do that on my turn. I can just play the Swamp and pass a turn. Okay, on my opponent's upkeep, I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Ooh, Overlord is really good here. So let's put the Polluted Delta into our graveyard. I don't think I can keep anything here. Just keep the Overlord on top. And we'll see what my opponent can do on this turn. Tamio. Tamio is a good start. Hallowed Fountain tapped. And that's it. Okay, so we'll draw Overlord. Let's cast Stitcher Supplier first. It will put more creatures in our graveyard. Another Vengevine is excellent. Now, unless my opponent has Surgical Extraction, we'll have a beautiful attack. And this is turn 3. Of course, we had the Gemstone Caverns. Even if my opponent counters that, that's fine. We want Vengevines. They're tapping mana. Yeah, they will consign only the Vengevines. That means we can grab another frog, right? Or something else for next turn. Yes, I would like to have... Yeah, frog is the best creature. And now we will attack. Let's attack with you and you. My opponent will probably not block the frog. Oh, they will not even block the Bloodghast. Okay. We have another Vengevine. So we need 1 extra creature to have 3 Vengevines coming back next turn. My opponent draws. Future Bloodghast will have haste. A clue token from my opponent will not block. We are down to 17. My opponent's Tamio has 0 power. They will draw a card. They want to flip Tamio? They want to flip Tamio, I think. Oh, they conceded. Oh, this is such a hard matchup for our deck, but we managed to win. This is a great start. Let's keep going. Round 2, we're paired against Capellomauro, and we are not play. This is not the best hand, but in Frog we trust, right? So let's skip. I'll start with Undercity Sewers. My opponent is mulliganing to 6. Let's see if we will crack Cephalic Elysium this game. Okay, my opponent kept 6 cards, and I will start with Undercity Sewers. We don't need another land, thank you. And they draw. Scalding turn. Please do something. I don't want to think on Spell Snare on my own turn. Crack it. You know you want to. Crack this and cast a cantrip. Tamio, I don't care. Anything. Oh, no. Okay, we'll draw another Coliseum. So I'll play Watergrave untapped and let's cross our fingers here. Please resolve. Please resolve. Please. Oh, no. Ah, alright. Thundering Falls. Psychic Frog is in the house. Oh, my opponent is a Prowess deck. They have Mutagenic Growth. Ribbit. Frog is a great blocker against this deck. So now they have Mishra's Bubble, Aridmissa. They are cracking to see their top of the deck. They don't want that card. Steam Vents. Tapped. Okay, this is our lucky day. Otherworldly Gaze is a good card. We could cast this now to see what's going on top of our deck. And then keep something that we want to draw. And then after that, if we still can do it, we can cast Citrus Supplier. Yeah, let's start with Otherworldly Gaze here. Another Frog is good, so let's put Creeping Chill and Cephalic Elysium into our graveyard. And I'll keep Frog on top. Draining Tree. Yes. And let's discard this Creeping Chill, I think. You know, I will not discard anything. Let's just attack here. I am not trying to win yet. I just want to draw Frog. Oh! I misclicked, guys. I misclicked. This was so bad. I clicked twice here on the button on the right, on the left of your screen. And unfortunately, I didn't attack with Frog. Okay, so let's keep Frog on defense. I'll just play Cephalic Elysium. And I'll pass the turn. That was unfortunate. This wasn't my intention. But it's fine. My opponent is not trying to kill Frog, and it's not hitting me yet. We had our first Creeping Chill. Maybe it's better to hold this Creeping Chill after all. Cory Steel Cutter, okay. And Darcy. Darcy is still fine. Let's see if my opponent wants to attack here. They want to attack. All right. They might have another Mutagenic Growth, but I will take the bait. Let's block. And I will discard Polluted Delta. Okay, they have a Mutagenic Growth. I would say they don't have another one, right? So I am confident that I can discard my whole hand just to save this frog. Let's save the frog. I'll discard Chill. We're on a mission here. Protection of the frog. I'll discard Supplier. And I'll discard Cephalic Collision. Ha! Do you have a third Mutagenic Growth? Oh, they have! Oh, that's so bad. Okay, okay, it's life. Our frog will go down. And now it's interesting, we have another frog on top. And I'll definitely keep it. And I'll definitely play it. But it might not be good enough because my opponent's hand was gas. And this is a situation where, okay, my opponent will kill the frog with double Lava Dart. This is a situation where it would be better to be a Dredge deck instead of CrabVine. Because with Dredgers, we could crack the Cephalic Coliseum and for sure have some action. But since we don't have Dredgers, we cannot do that. So can we still be good against Prowess? Yeah, my opponent's hand was everything. And of course, Darcy is helping them to find exactly what they need. Yeah, we lost the game, right? 9. Oh, actually, you have 1 life now. And my opponent is Hellbent. But we cannot do much here. I think we'll crack Otherworldly Gaze. Cast, I mean. And yeah, let's concede. Ooh, for a moment, I thought that we could win this. And you see, after all, it was a good thing to misclick on that point and keep Psychic Frog on defense, because my opponent will attack and deal so much damage anyways, so it didn't matter at the end. Now what? Consign to Memory is not especially good. Gemstone Covers no, because we are on the play. Gurmag Angler is not big enough, doesn't have the... Of course, it's a 5/5 wall, but as we saw there, my opponent can go bigger than that. So Flare of Malice, my opponent has 2 creatures, they need to sacrifice one of them. But this is always expensive. I don't think this is good against this deck. Dark Blast will be included, of course, and I think that's it. We want to put maybe Vengevines on defense against this deck if we are playing from behind. Bloodgas are the obvious cuts here because they cannot block. So Dark Blast instead of 2 Bloodgas. Maybe 2 Flares instead of other 2 Bloodgas, just to have more removal if we have the chance to cast this. The thing is, my opponent will never sacrifice a token with this card. It will be always creatures, sometimes the flyers. So maybe it is a good thing to include more flares. Instead of what? I think Overlord is too slow in this matchup, so let's side out one of them. And that's it. We are on the play. I cannot keep a hand with only basic island. Let's mulligan. Okay, this is not incredible, but I will keep it because of Crab. So Prize Amalgam will go back on the bottom, and we have turn 1 Supplier, turn 2 Frog. No, turn 1 Crab, turn 2 Frog. Yeah. Unfortunately, we'll deal so much damage to ourselves. Maybe it's better to just play Sink into Stupor, Soporific Springs tapped. Do we have the time to do that? I don't think so. My opponent kept 7, so let's keep our 6. Putting Prize Amalgam back. Now what? We probably don't have... Okay, we always can draw another land instead of this, right? So let's start with Watergrave, untapped, and the crabbiest of the crabs. It's in the house. I don't know how to do a crab sound. If you know how to do it, let me know here in the comments. Oh, my opponent will kill it immediately. Yeah, better killing this than Psychic Frog, considering this hand. Land is great. So let's play the frog. I know how to do a frog impression. Ribbit. Let's see if my opponent has another removal spell. The thing is, we don't have anything that good to be discarded with this hand. We don't have Vengevines, Prize Amalgams, Bloodghasts. So ideally, we don't need to discard anything to Sacred Frog now. Okay, my opponent is only playing a creature. This creature is easy to kill. We only need to block. Unfortunately, our frog doesn't fly yet. So let's see if my opponent wants to attack. Okay, I will not block yet. You have a free pass this turn. My opponent knows our top deck, which is Boggart Trawler. So far, those lands are not doing the best impression. Of course, I can play this and bounce that creature, but I don't think this is too good now. Let's draw 1 extra card before doing decisions. Decisions. Too many decisions. And now, Psychic Frog hits. We draw Otherworldly Gaze. I think I'll cast Supplier here. Okay, no Vengevines. We cannot kill Supplier to have more effects like this. I can play my second frog and hope for the best. Yeah, I think that's the play. So let's play Boggart Bog, untapped, and I'll play Frog. Okay, We are down to 12. If we survive this turn, we can bounce my opponent's creature next turn. Okay, just expressive iteration. They play Scouting Turn from exile. Let's see if my opponent wants to attack this turn or not. Now we can fly with our second frog easily. If my opponent attacks, we can fly, discarding Otherworldly Gaze and blocking there. Hopefully my opponent don't have ways to give trample to their creature. Okay, they are picking at our top card. Okay, they will attack. Let's try to exchange this frog for the bird. Okay, in response, my opponent is killing the frog. That's not the worst. My opponent will not kill me yet. And they still have only one creature in play. So, alright, you kill frog. We didn't lose that much. We'll go down to 5. We need a good draw here, but at the same moment, I don't want to cast Otherworldly Gaze here in case we don't find another land. Do I cast this? I think I cannot cast it now. We need to have more information here. Oh, this is good. This is good because now we have a way to sacrifice Teacher Supplier. Now we can bounce something and sacrifice it. We have answers against 2 creatures. So let's attack with our both creatures. Okay, we draw Crab. Crab is good, but I will not play it yet. Let's pass the turn. We're still losing this game, but we have some answers. Let's see if this... Sink into Stupor, it's time to shine. That's your moment. Oops, there's someone at the door. Just a second. We are back. My opponent plays Aridmisa, and a monk, and another monk. And Soulguide Lantern. We don't care about this card at the moment. This represents only a prowess trigger. Okay, my opponent is representing lethal here. So that's interesting. Flare of Malice will kill this. And then we can bounce a monk. Yeah, I think that's wiser. Let's cast it. Because I could bounce this first and kill a monk, but this card is stronger. It's more expensive, but it is stronger. So yeah, let's cast Flare first. I will sacrifice Stitcher Supplier. And now my opponent is not threatening me lethal, but any Lava Dart is lethal here. Any Lava Dart would still be lethal even... Is it better to just cast Otherworldly Gaze? Because if I bounce this and my opponent has Lava Dart, or Bolt, or anything, it is lethal anyways, right? So I think... Yeah, let's take 4 damage. Okay, my opponent is passing the turn. Okay, I'll try to cast Otherworldly Gaze here. Hopefully it will resolve before my opponents try anything more. Okay, Overlord. If I cast Crab and Overlord, Overlord cannot block, Crab can block, Frog can block. Is this still good enough? I'll keep Overlord on top, and I will cast Otherworldly Gaze to see 2 more cards. Another Crab? I don't think we'll have time for that, unfortunately. Let's put both there, because my opponent has Soulguide Lantern. If I find Creeping Chill with my Crab, my opponent will probably sacrifice Soulguide Lantern immediately. So let's cast this. It enters the battlefield. My opponent is considering something here. Maybe they want to crack Soulguide Lantern. Oh, Creeping Chill is there. And yes, I want to use that ability. I will grab Psychic Frog. I could try Supplier here, but let's grab the Frog. I think my opponent will... Yeah, now they will exile my graveyard. And now I will cast my Crab. At this point, this will be just a tapped land, triggering Crab. And please a Creeping Chill? No Creeping Chill. And we'll pass the turn. We have 2 blockers. My opponent has 2 creatures. We are not dead unless they have targeted damage spell. Okay, Bubble. We are not dead, but we might need to kill our champ block with our creatures, unfortunately. There's more? No. Now it's interesting. Of course I need to block, but I could try to discard here and keep Frog in play instead of casting another Frog next turn. Maybe this is better because this will let me keep a 2/3 Frog. Let's do that. Let's discard here. And now I have no secrets. Okay, it seems my opponent has a land in their hand or another creature. Oh, Oculus. Really? Okay. It wasn't enough to put us down to 1. My opponent is bullying us. I'll draw Vengevine. Yeah, let's concede. We tried our best, but this is a hard matchup if you are not putting creatures on the table every turn, and Overlord is not as its best against this deck. Let's go to round 3. Round 3, we are paired against Meatballsub. We are on the play. This is not the greatest hand. Let's mulligan. This hand with a land could be good, but we are on the play. Let's try something better on 5. Okay, on 5 we'll keep this. This is similar to our first hand. Let's put Creeping Chill and Stories back. And I'll start with Bloodstained Mire, cracked it, for Watery Grave, untapped. I'll pass to my opponent's turn just to dodge Force of Negation, and I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, good cards on top. We cannot keep the lands because we have fetch lands, and I want to cast a Frog next turn. My opponent has Polluted Delta, cracks it, for a Surveil land. Oh, my opponent has a counter spell, a different counter spell. In Frog, we trust. I'll grab my basic island, I think, and play frog. Ribbit. And we'll pass a turn. Okay, my opponent will immediately kill frog. It happens. Now I think I will cast Otherworldly Gaze on my upkeep. Overlord is good for next turn, so let's keep it on top. And we draw, and I will cast Stitcher Supplier. Yes, Bloodgas is here. Press Amalgam triggers. Let's grab our basic swamp, and I'll play Stitcher Supplier. Okay, one Amalgam will trigger the other one. We have creatures in play. And next turn we can cast Overlord plus Hedron Crab. Okay, my opponent conceded. Woof, this was faster than expected. Now one Gemstone Caverns instead of one Cephalic Coliseum, like we did before. And my opponent is probably a Psychic Frog deck, so... And they will eventually have large creatures, so Flare of Malice is intriguing. Again, Garmagingler, I don't trust this card enough in this current metagame, even if my opponent might have Spellbomb and we then cast this like a 5/5. Is this maybe what we are doing against this deck? They have counter spells, not sure. I don't think Dark Blast will be good enough, maybe Surgical. So what is not that good against my opponent's deck? I think we can always side out at least one Bloodghast because my opponent will have blockers, probably. Overlord is especially slow on the draw, but it's good against control. Let's keep 3. Creeping Show is not especially great here. 1 Supplier, okay, 4 cards down to include 3 Flares and 1 Surgical. Maybe we try without Vengevines to include 3 Anglers and 1 Surgical, just to play better against Graveyard Hate. Is this what we're doing on the draw? Okay, we are testing this deck. I know it's super weird, but if my opponent is doing like our last opponent with... This is not a good hand, unfortunately. Let's mulligan. With Graveyard Hate. No lands. Let's mulligan again. My opponent kept 7. Okay, this is better. Let's keep this. Creeping Shield back. And Sink it to Stupor back. Oof. So if my opponent starts threatening us with... Okay, just keeping Water Grave untapped. Overlord is good. Let's play our Surveil land. Oh, my opponent is consigning to memory or Surveil trigger. That's fine. That's a good use of that card against us, I think. Without Voidwalker, okay. So, we don't have Vengevines anymore. But we have frogs. Let's crack this now for a basic swamp. Overlord is not good against Doughty, of course. So I think I'll only play this if we reach 5 mana. Let's play our Psychic Frog. Ribbit. My opponent draws and plays Surveil land and attacks. Now it's our turn. We'll draw another Overlord. Let's attack with Frog. Now I really want to reach 5 mana here. Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. My opponent will try to kill Frog in combat. Cannot give flying to our Frog because of the Doughty Voidwalker. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze here to see what's on top. Okay, we have lands there. Creeping Show is not as its best in this position, but we could keep this as a draining spell, right? If I place a Cephalic Coliseum and a second Frog this turn, then on next turn Creeping Shield, and on turn 5 Overlord, on turn 6 another Overlord. That's a plan. I'm not sure if it's a great plan against Doughty Voidwalker, but it's a plan. So in that case, I just let the Psychic Frog die. Yeah, so let's keep Shield on top, Cephalic Coliseum on top, Water Grave on top. That's fine. That's all fine. We are casting our second Frog. I'll press F6 here. Oh, my opponent is casting this, dealing 4 damage to my Frog and gaining 4 life. Okay, another Frog bites the dust. And now we'll draw Water Grave. We will play it tapped. My opponent attacks. Yeah, my opponent has several removal spells in their deck. Let's consider that when sideboarding after this game, because I think we are going to lose it. If this Overlord is countered, gets countered, no? Okay. Our Creeping Show was obviously milled, but Orcish Bowmasters is such a great blocker for this card. So, yeah, another Doughty is the nail in the coffin. We don't have ways to remove 2 Doughties here or to win the game. Let's sideboard. So, we don't have Thought Seizes. We don't have Flares. The good Flares, I mean. Flare of Malice is a way to get rid of a Doughty Voidwalker. If we have a strong beginning, we can maybe hit Vengevines. Garmagangler is the worst against my opponent's Graveyard Hate, so it's better to just re-include Vengevines here. Surgical is not good against my opponent's deck after sideboarding. Not that good. Gemstone Caverns not good on the play. Bloodghasts are not good against Orcish Bowmasters, but Consign to Memory is not good. Dark Blast against Orc. Is this a good thing to have? Let's re-include the Creeping Chill. Let's submit. Yes, I would like to play first. Just a frog? No, thank you. We have a removal spell, but nothing after that. This hand is awful. Let's go to 5. Okay, this is our best hand so far. Water Grave Otherworldly Gaze to hit our second land. Then second land Psychic Frog. We have the Overlord. Let's skip this. And outside, I'll put down Creeping Chill. Put back to our deck. And Crab is not good here. We don't have lands. So let's put the Crab and start like that. I'll play Water Grave, untapped. I might cast Overlord instead of Frog on turn 2, just to have another creature in my hand, in case my opponent deploys Doubt Voidwalker. Okay, this is a land. Let's put you and you into my graveyard. Bogart Trawler on top, we drain 3. Back to 21, my opponent plays Marsh Flats and passes. So I'll play this as a land. My opponent might have Fatal Push or something. Let's just cast Overlord here. It's in the battlefield. We have a Vengevine there. So yes, I'll grab a Supplier. Having Vengevine there is great, because even if my opponent has Doubt Voidwalker now, we can still bring back Vengevine if we hit a land next turn. And Flare of Malice plus Stitcher Supplier is good. So we need a land on top. Doubt Voidwalker is there as expected. We will draw a land. Alright, so this is an instant. So we could try to hit something else. Yeah, let's play the island. Now I'll play, let's hold priority here. I'll play Stitcher Supplier for 1 single mana. With this trigger on the stack, I'll sacrifice it to Flare of Malice. Oh no, it is exiled anyways. But yeah, this trigger will resolve after Doubt Voidwalker gets sacrificed. So maybe you can hit a second Vengevine? No, not yet. But that's fine, I will not complain. We have a Vengevine. Yeah, hopefully my opponent will not have a second Doughty. But if they have a second Doughty, we will have some creatures after that. So yeah, Flare of Malice was good. And this situation, this is specific situation, so specific. My opponent has, okay, my opponent will kill the frog. Ribbit. The frog dies. We still have Vengevine. And we have Otherworldly Gaze. Overlord is coming here. I think I will cast off Otherworldly Gaze here, just to have a better card on top. Creeping Chill is good. Bloodghast. Let's keep Otherworldly Gaze, is something that we can cast this turn. My opponent might have Orcish Bowmasters there. So let's attack first. I thought for a moment to cast Winter Night Stories, but if my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters, that would be the end of us. Let's attack dealing 4 damage. Oh, just this. Sacrifice a non-token creature. That's fine. Now I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Wonder, Polluted Delta. I think I'll keep Cephalic Elysium. We have Bloodghast entering with haste, and then we can cast another Otherworldly Gaze. And the Overlord comes down to 2 counters. It's so weird, but I think we'll win this game. Or maybe not. Karn, alright. They should have Tormod Script, yeah. Too bad for us. Okay, we still have an Overlord coming in 2 turns. My opponent has only 2 cards in their hand. I will keep this Cephalic Elysium in my hand. 2 more turns to attack with Overlord. This is turn 5. My opponent plays a land, activates Karn for Ensnaring Bridge. Can we win against this? We still have Sink into Stupor in our deck, right? Engineer Explosives with X equals to 2. Okay, my opponent has only 1 card in their hand. We have Sink into Stupor somewhere in our deck. So we draw Bloodghast. This has haste. We can kill Karn. We cannot kill Karn because my opponent's Ensnaring Bridge is there. So I think I'll just cast it, but can't attack yet. Overlord is there, cannot attack as well. 4 mana to my opponent. More. The Meathook Massacre. Alright, opponent. Up to 10 life. Karn goes up. We draw Otherworldly Gaze. I don't think my opponent has counter spells, it doesn't seem so. So I'll keep Cephalic Elysium in my hand yet. How many Creeping Chills we have in our deck? 2. We can put my opponent down to 4 if we hit them. And then what? Okay, I'll play Cephalic Elysium. And I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze now. Sink into Stupor is there. Sink into Stupor is there. Alright. We can bounce Ensnaring Bridge, but we need creatures. So I don't think I want Crab or Stories. Let's keep this on top. And I will cast this again, just to see if we can find Amalgam there. Great, and Chill. Great, my opponent is down to 7. Let's still keep this on top. Yes, Bloodghast is here. Triggering Prize Amalgam. We have the single card that can win us the game on top. Karn goes up, and that's it. Okay, Bloodghast can attack now. Okay, let's attack Karn. No, we will not attack Karn. My opponent has an answer. 5 black mana because of Cabal Coffers. Oh, they'll just destroy our Bloodghast and kill our Prize Amalgam. That's okay. The Massacre also goes to the graveyard because of Engineer Explosives. Okay, my plan was to cast Winter Night Stories after combat, but maybe I should do that before. I was afraid of Orcish Bowmasters again. So now is my opponent's turn. We need to put 2 more cards in. Okay, my opponent will search for something. Liquid Metal Coating. Okay. Oh, it's getting worse. We need something good on top of our deck now. We have our answer, but we need something else. This is something else. Let's start here. Do we want any of those cards? Flare helps us to kill Karn, but we don't have any creature to sacrifice yet. All of those cards are good. If we keep Overlord as our 3rd card, we can have Cephalic Elysium. My opponent will start killing our stuff with liquid metal coating, so we will never get enough lands to cast this. We need one extra land to bring back Bloodghast and Prize Amalgam. Karn is not an issue for the next 2 turns, so I think Flare of Malice will be put into our graveyard. If I put a single card in my graveyard, I'll have 7. So I can crack Cephalic Coliseum to draw 3, discard 3. But I don't want to discard Syncretic Super, so it doesn't matter. Let's put Flare of Malice into our graveyard and keep Overlord and Cephalic Coliseum on top. And I'll pass a turn. Okay, my opponent didn't use the Liquid Metal Coating. Another Cabal Coffers for my opponent. They will go after our Watery Grave. So let's activate it here. And that's it. Okay. And now after combat, my opponent will destroy it with Karn. We have 1 land on top. Let's play it. Bloodghast enters the battlefield. Let's see if my opponent can destroy it somehow. This doesn't think so. Let's attack Karn. So far so good. No, they have something. Of course they have. Fatal Push on Bloodghast. Okay. We have a Prized Amalgam there. It's not especially good. And on top we have an Overlord. Thankfully, my opponent has an Urborg, so we will have black mana even if my opponent destroys Boggart Bog. And that's it. Prized Amalgam enters the battlefield. Tapped. Okay, my opponent will go after my basic island now. That's fine. Oh, my opponent's Karn gets 0 loyalty. Sundering Titan. So my opponent can destroy 2 of my lands now. We don't know which one. Okay, 1 Cephalic Coliseum, 1 island. Alright. We need more lands. But now my opponent doesn't have Karn anymore. So we don't need to worry about that. I will cast Otherworldly Gaze here to put a land on top, hopefully. Yeah, we have a land on top. Let's put Vengevine there. Overlord and Cephalic Coliseum. We will draw. Cephalic Coliseum. Bloodghast enters. It cannot attack yet. But at least now we guaranteed our 3rd land. What a game. Oh, okay, my opponent will kill it. Maybe at some point my own opponent will destroy their Ensnaring Breach so they can start attacking with Sundering Titan. Another land for my opponent. I think they have another removal spell in their hand, maybe a 4th Fatal Push. Overlord is here. We'll cast it. Oh, I didn't need to tap that for blue mana. This was a mistake. Okay, another Vengevine is good. And I will take the Crab. So both Vengevines can enter the battlefield. They cannot attack yet, but that's a start. We have a bounce spell in our hand. And other Prized Amalgam will enter the battlefield. This is turn 12. Is this game 1, guys? I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. This was so long. No, this is not game 1. This is game 2. No, this is game 3. The match is tied. Somehow I feel like I'm playing the same game for half an hour. Okay, so whoever wins this will win the match. Overlord goes down. My opponent is tapping for mana. Orcish Bowmaster is there. They will kill my Bloodghast. That's fine. Do we still have Wonder? No, our Wonder is in exile. I'll press F6 here. We need to find our last Creeping Chill to put my opponent... Oh, my opponent has a Profane Tutor now? Okay, I have 2 turns to do something relevant. We will draw here. Prized Amalgam is not exactly what we want. We still have 1 Creeping Chill in our deck. I can cast this as a creature. If I could attack now, my opponent... if I bounce Ensnaring Breach, my opponent will block 3 creatures. And I will deal only 3 damage to my opponent. If I have another Prized Amalgam, that would be 6. I think I'll cast Winter Knights. Oh no, I cannot cast because of Orcish Bowmasters. I will die. So yeah, let's only play Prized Amalgam. Let's cast it from our hand. And I'll pass a turn. My opponent will draw a card. They are going down to 6 thanks to Castle Lochtwain. Oblivion Stone. Oh no! We cannot win anymore. Only if they tap for mana. They don't need to activate that, right? Draw more cards, opponent. Please, draw more cards. Put yourself down to 4. Okay, I will draw. Stitcher Supplier. Not especially good here. But we'll cast it, right? Maybe we can find our Creeping Chill. No? 2 Bloodghasts there. We need to draw a land. Do we still have lands in our deck? I hope so. Okay, guys, I have the win here as long as my opponent uses their mana somehow, or because of Oblivion Stone, I'm not sure if we can win the game anymore. They will start putting counters on their things, but they are doing that on the end of my turn. What a slog. Profane Tutor loses a suspend counter, and they can cast it. Okay, what did they look for? 9 mana. Another Karn, of course. Okay, they will just destroy my Cephalic Coliseum. Is that what is happening? So I think I will be forced to draw 3, discard 3 here, unfortunately, before they do that. And Arc will deal 3 damage to something. Okay, we have lands. I don't want Crab and those lands, unfortunately. I need to keep Syncretic Stupor. Oh, they will kill my Stitcher Supplier and my Crab. There's nothing else I can do here. My opponent is playing this. They really understand what's going on. Okay, and now they are going up to 15. And they will keep saving their creatures. But they did that on their turn. But unfortunately, they are up to 15 life. And we have only 2 lands. Their plan here is to save their creatures, putting counters from Oblivion Stone, and then destroy everything else to have lethal on board. My opponent chose Stone Brain, but they didn't cast it. And now I have Vengevine here. Yeah, guys, we will not win this. Almost there. It was closest than it looks. Let's go to our round 4. Round 4, we are playing against Denmark, Dan from Denmark. And we will keep this hand. And I don't have anything here. I'll just press 6 to end eating this fruit. It's our turn now. Okay, with this hand, we have a clear, good turn 2 play. Let's start with the Crab. Crab enters the battlefield. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. For tap lands are good. Oh, Prismatic Ending, unfortunate. Supplier is interesting. But if this is a control matchup, Overlord on turn 2 would be one of our best plays. Let's grab our basic swamp here. Overlord, won't you buy me a Psychic Frog? Yes. Value. Because now we can cast Psychic Frog, discard Vengevine, and cast Citrus Supplier after that. My opponent has a Surveil land. We can press F6 here. We are not representing counter spells. My opponent has a Mystic Gate. This is definitely a control matchup. Teferi. Okay, my opponent don't want to return my Overlord to my hand. And now I'll play Polluted Delta, cracking it for a basic island. I'll play Frog. I'll discard Vengevine and Prize Amalgam. And I'll cast Stitcher Supplier. Vengevine triggers. Yes, I would like to use Vengevine's ability. Prize Amalgam triggers. Stitcher Supplier triggers. Creeping Chill. Wonder is there. Another Prize Amalgam to trigger at the end of this turn. And let's attack Teferi here, so they cannot bounce a single card. Overlord comes down. That's sweet. This is a sweet start against the control matchup. My opponent had a Prismatic Ending, but this was not good enough. And we can still cast Otherworldly Gaze twice next turn. We might have lethal if we find other Vengevine or Creeping Chill. My opponent has Field of Ruin, and that's it. Prize Amalgam enters. We have lethal on board. Let's draw. I can't cast Otherworldly Gaze because of Teferi. Cephalic Coliseum. My opponent might have something like Creeped Command here or something like that. So let's threaten to attack first and see how they respond. Okay, we are in the combat phase. I will attack everyone on Dan. 3, 4, 8 plus 6, 14. Okay, they have an answer. Snapcaster, Mage. They can cast Prismatic Ending on something. Okay. My creatures are flying, so they will probably exile Psychic Frog here. Yeah, Frog is down. And my opponent will go down to 4. And now I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze on my second main step. Another Frog on top. Woohoo! Supplier is also good, but I don't think we need Supplier anymore. Let's keep only Frog on top. And I will keep Cephalic Coliseum here. I'll play Cephalic Coliseum, I mean. Since we will not cast anything else after my turn because of the Teferi, let's cast my second Otherworldly Gaze here. Yeah, I'll still keep only Frog on top. And I'll pass the turn. Let's see if my opponent can deal with my battlefield. The Teferi goes up. Tune the narrative. My opponent has energy. Do they have Wrath of the Skies? Another Field of Ruin. Okay, my opponent has a Wrath. They will probably attack here, yeah? No Wraths. Well, they can cast it at instant speed because of the Teferi. So we'll draw. Let's one more time threaten lethal here, but my opponent probably have an answer. Yeah, as expected. Stitcher Supplier will mill 3 cards. Maybe a Bloodghast? No. But a Creeping Chill is also good because now my opponent is down to 1. And because of that, I think I will not cast Psychic Frog yet because we have Vengevine there. I have some options here. I can cast Otherworldly Gaze trying to hit Bloodghast or another Creeping Chill. Yeah, I think I'll do that, and then I can even crack Cephalic Coliseum. Not exactly what I want. Overlord is not the worst. Let's keep Overlord on top, I think, and I'll cast that again. Surveying 3 again. We have 1 card on top. Oh, Creeping Chill is there, and we won. This is so cheesy. But a win is a win. We won against control as it should be, as it is written. Now, Gemstone Caverns instead of 1 Cephalic Coliseum. And I don't think we have so many good tools against this deck. Our deck is already good. Don't need to worry about large creatures. Even Planeswalkers, I don't think we want to change many things. Let's just submit the deck back. Okay, we have a not so great hand. Let's mulligan. This is also sketchy. We have 2 lands, 1 draw spell, and many cards that we don't want to see in our starting hand. Let's mulligan. Okay, this is our best hand so far. We can put Creeping Chill and Prize Amalgam back and keep the other cards. And Denmark then starts with Flooded Strand and passes. And now we'll draw another land. Another land is good. Let's play the basic island and pass. I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze now that my opponent doesn't have a land. Oh, okay, let's keep the second Overlord on top. Overlord, won't you buy me something? Meticulous Archive for my opponent. They don't want a second Flooded Strand. My opponent plays Mystic Gate and passes. I feel that my opponent will counter whatever I put on the table here. And because of that, I should start with Overlord because my opponent cannot exile Overlord with Prismatic Ending. But I think the right call is still putting Frog first. Because if my opponent counters it, I can grab it back with my Overlord. Yep, counterspell, as expected. Because this is better to resolve instead of Frog, right? Against this opponent at least. My opponent has so many tools to destroy or sacrifice our creatures, to force us to sacrifice or exile. Okay, this seems good. Let's cast Overlord first. My opponent might have another counterspell here. No, it's in play. Creeping Chill will drain 3, and I want a Psychic Frog back. Thank you so much. Yes. Opponent's down to 16. Overlord triggers, down to 4 counters. My opponent has an answer, Brain Surge. Okay, Brain Surge is good. Is my opponent playing with Miracle cards? Next turn we have Overlord and Psychic Frog returning Vengevine. Okay, nothing yet. On the next end step, I'll crack Polluted Delta for a Surveil land. A second Vengevine is excellent. We will draw. Okay, let's cast Overlord here. Yeah, as I said at intro, this is really good against control. My opponent needs to counter that. If they don't know that... No, they know that we have Psychic Frog. They don't know that we have the 4th land. So, yeah, Subtlety. Exiling Mystical Dispute. Okay. They are not tapping mana to cast Subtlety, so let's keep on top. That's interesting. They want to do something extra this turn. So let's play Sink into Stupor as a land. Yes, I would like to pay life. And now I'll cast Frog. 2 Vengevines are triggering. Yes, I would like to use that ability. But something tells me that my opponent has another thing. Oh, and now we have Wonder, so our creatures can fly again. Basics for my opponent. Mystical Dispute on our Psychic Frog, that's fine. We can get Frog again next turn with Overlord. You see, guys, Overlord is black, so Mystical Dispute is almost useless against it. Not useless because my opponent can pay 3 mana to do that, but they knew about Psychic Frog. They were just waiting to counter Psychic Frog. Okay, another Brain Surge. This is a good card. An instant divination, but better. And my opponent is using Brain Surge as Brainstorming Legacy because of the fetchlands. So they are just putting 2 non-important cards back to be shuffled back to the deck. And my opponent concedes. We won. They couldn't hit anything good with Brain Surge, and we won. We are 2-2. Let's go to our final match. Alright, final round against the Sacred Cat 29. And we are on the play. Not a great hand. Let's mulligan. I think I'll keep it. But this is super slow. Let's keep it. Putting Creeping Chill back. We don't have ways to put this Vengevine in our graveyard yet. Hopefully we'll have a Psychic Frog on top. So I'll start with the basic island and pass. My opponent draws. Are they playing Energy? The cats? Sacred Cat? No, blue. What? Merfolk Wizard. They can exhaust, paying several mana to draw cards and put a Merfolk. Okay, this is Merfolk. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. Okay. Do we want something from the top of our deck? I think the Overlord is good if this match is slow, but I'm not counting on that. Let's keep Overlord yet because is it at least a way to mill 4 cards? But I'm not enjoying playing against Merfolk here with a slow hand like this. Let's grab basics, right? Just in case. So basic swamp. And now I'll cast this. It resolves. We can grab Supplier or Crab. Which one is better considering what we have here? Next turn is Overlord plus something. I think the Crab is better, right? And the Crab scales better than Stitcher Supplier, considering this hand. Overlord goes down to 4 counters. My opponent draws and plays another basic island. And Tide Shapers, so bye-bye Swamp. So nice choice. Going for the Crab instead. And now, can we draw a Swamp here? No, Bloodghast instead. So let's play the Crab. I'll play the land untapped. Let's mill 3 cards. Vengevine is there. Hopefully next turn we can grab it. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. My opponent is thinking maybe they have Force of Negation. If they want to force that, that's alright. That's fine for me. 2 for 1. 2 for half, because we have others and this was a flashback card. Overlord goes down to 3. We have a small wall here with Hedron Crab. We can block a 1-1. Okay, Otawara for my opponent. We need to stall this game until we have our Overlord in play as a 5-5. We need 3 more turns. Can we do it? We need to get to turn 6. But my opponent might have some Island Walk enablers, lords. Yeah, like this one. So we cannot block. We need to gain some life. So I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze on my upkeep. We need lands. No lands, so let's put everything into our graveyard. We could keep the second Otherworldly Gaze here, but I think I prefer to draw. Vengevine. Okay, let's pass a turn. We don't have removal spells, and even if we had, they wouldn't be that great against Merfolk. Okay, maybe the Flare can be good after... Yeah, I can block this, but I will not, right? I feel I need to top deck something here to have a chance. Yeah, but then we'll just die, right? We need Creeping Chill, so... Creeping Chill? Let's target ourselves here. No Creeping Chill. So I'll still crack this for Undercity Sewers. Let's put this first on the stack, then this and this. Targeting us, Creeping Chill. Come on, chills. 1 chill. We're up to 5 life, but my opponent has 7 power in play. We can block a 2-2, so we need more than that. We don't want Polluted Delta. With this trigger on the stack, I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze, and that's over, right? That's over, unfortunately. Bloodghast enters, but Bloodghast cannot block. It will trigger our Amalgams, but that's it. Yeah, I'll pass the turn. My opponent has the win here. Let's see if they will see that. Maybe they show something else from their deck before the sideboarding. Yeah, my opponent sees what's going on, and we lost. So let's go to game 2. Let's prepare ourselves against Merfolk. Dark Blast seems like something that can work. Flare of Malice. I don't want to play Consign to Memory against Merfolk. I think it's too sketchy. So let's include this. I think I'll take my Bloodghast here. All of them. Will not win attacking with 2 ones that cannot block against this deck. And what else? Overlord is, as always, too slow. Let's include the second Dark Blast and submit. Yes, I would like to play first with a better hand. Thank you. Not a better hand, but this could work if our Otherworldly Gaze is resolved. But this is not the greatest hand, for sure. We can see 6 extra cards on the first 2 turns, trying to hit another land, and then Frog Vengevine and other creatures that we'll see through our way. I'll keep it, put Creeping Chill back. My opponent is going down to 6 as well. Alright, we both kept 6 card hands. And because of Force of Negation, let's grab Watergrave, untapped, but I'll pass to my opponent's turn first, and I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Dark Blast is good. I think I reveal Dark Blast to my opponent, and I'll keep Bloodstained Mire on top. Waterlogged Grove. Okay, we'll draw Bloodstained Mire. Let's grab a basic swamp because it doesn't matter, right? It will be an island soon. And I will just, I'll just cast the frog. We had frogs every game, every match in this league. My opponent has turn Scalding, so no frogs for us. Ribbit. And now they have 6 cards in their hand. Otawara. No islands. They don't have any islands. Tap Otawara for Tide Shaper without Kicker. So they must have another counterspell there. I'll Dredge 3 here. Okay, and I'll just pass the turn. And my intention is casting another Otherworldly Gaze. And then on my turn, I have Otherworldly Gaze or Dark Blast twice to kill a Merfolk. My opponent has a 3rd. Okay. This is representing Force of Negation, so I must be careful with my Dark Blasts. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze here. Oh, crabs. Do I want them? Do I want 2 of them? Or I want my land and try to hit something better? I don't... Can we keep crabs here? Or 1 crab and 1 fetch land? I think I'll keep only the land, guys. I'll keep only the land here. Let's keep digging. I don't like to play crab and pass the turn without playing a land. I don't think that's wise. We need to keep hitting our land drops. So I'll play my Bloodstained Mire here, and I'll pass a turn with the intention of casting Otherworldly Gaze twice again. My opponent has a Merfolk Trickster. So let's take this opportunity to grab, Undercity Sewers maybe? This is a land, but not what we want. So let's put that into our graveyard, and now I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. My opponent might counter that with Force of Negation. If that's the case, I like that. Yeah, Force of Negation, exiling Flare of Denial. That's a win, because now I can start hitting a Merfolk with Dark Blast. So let's start with this one. And now I will dredge it back. Creeping Chill is good. But now we need creatures to get Vengevines. We don't have them. Yes? Let's try to kill this Tide Shaper. Okay, my opponent will counter that with Flare of Denial. Alright, my opponent has 1 card in their hand. Next turn I'll probably just cast Prize Amalgams if I don't have anything better to do. At least is a blocker. My opponent plays a land. Still 1 card in their hand. I think I will keep dredging here. Do I? What I want to see in my graveyard. Creeping Chills, and we don't have creatures to dredge. We don't have a Golgaric Beggar or Stinkweed Imp. Let's dredge once more. Okay, Creeping Chill, good. And I'll cast Prize Amalgam purely as a blocker to those Merfolks. And I will try to kill one of them next turn again. Until I have something better to do. My opponent's last card was... Oh no, they are just cracking Waterlogged Grove. We'll have a natural draw next turn. My opponent plays an island. And that's it. Alright. We'll draw. Overlord is a great draw because we can grab a crab and get a Vengevine, a flying Vengevine back. So yes, if this resolves, of course, yes, it is resolving. Yes, I would like to use its ability. Stitcher Supplier is also a consideration here. I think I will grab Supplier instead of Hedron Crab, because we can mill more cards. And Vengevine is in the house. We can attack dealing 7 damage to my opponent, unless they have a bounce spell or something else. They are considering something here. Okay, my opponent had Consign to Memory, but now I think I want to attack with my Prize Amalgam, because we have a blocker here, and a good blocker that will gladly block any of those creatures. I'm passing the turn, my opponent draws, they have 2 cards in their hand, they will attack, and I'll block. We mill 3, nothing great there. Tide Shaper, no swamp for us, so no Dark Blast as well. Oh, Creeping Chill is an awful draw. I should cast Otherworldly Gaze. I should have cast Otherworldly Gaze on my upkeep. For a moment I forgot doing that. We still have the win in 2 turns here. Let's cast it now to see what's happening. If we have another land on top, we might keep it just to cast Creeping Chill. Okay, we have another land on top. Do we have another swamp in the deck? Let's see. Swamp, Undercity Silvers, Water Grave. We have only 1 Water Grave remaining in our deck, and it's in our graveyard. Let's check. So 2 Water Graves, 2 Undercity Silvers, 1 Swamp. So we don't have an untapped black source. Is this still good enough? I don't think so. Let's put this into my graveyard, and I'll attack with Prize Amalgam here, putting my opponent down to 3. And now it's a race. Now it's a race. My opponent will attack here, putting me down to 3 as well. And now we draw Undercity Sewers. We have to attack, right? Let's attack. It is happening, and we won game 2. We should have won before that, but I forgot to cast that last Otherworldly Gaze. Actually, I didn't see that. I'm still not used 100% to have these glasses, so I was looking down, and the frame of my glass was kind of blocking my view for a moment. I need to stay up and with eyes wide open when playing with my glasses. Okay, we won, but my opponent had a terrible start. They kept several counter spells and not enough creatures to put pressure on us. Let's submit the deck back now with Gemstone Caverns in the main deck. We have Caverns, but 2 chills. This is a turn 1 Overlord. My opponent kept 7. Turn 1 Overlord meaning 4. Turn 2 Overlord, grabbing another. I don't think this is too good, guys. Let's mulligan. This is better. We'll keep that. Wonder is not needed in our initial hand. My opponent starts Otawara, and nothing's good. We will draw. Winter Night Story's second copy, not immediately good. Let's play Bloodstained Mire and pass. My opponent draws, plays Cavern of Souls, that's okay. Choosing Merfolk. That Merfolk, that's fine. My opponent is holding a counterspell probably for our Psychic Frog. Let's get every possible value here, so Undercity Sewers. Another land is good, let's keep that on top. I'll play my land, and I'll pass the turn. No frog yet, because I know what's happening here. My opponent plays an untapped land, paying 3 life, holding several counterspells again. This is a scary card. My opponent can buff every Merfolk at instant speed. Okay, some action. Lord of Atlantis. Okay. My opponent is still holding a 1 mana counterspell. Oh, not anymore. Okay. The path is free to resolve creature spells. Let's grab Undercity Sewers here. See what's going on top of our deck. Another land. Do we want that? I don't think so. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze now. It will resolve. And oh, another flare. Do we want that many flares? Is it good to have this on top of our deck? I don't think so. Let's put everything into our graveyard. And now we'll draw Dark Blast. Let's cast Psychic Frog here. Oh, my opponent has Flare of Denial, sacrificing Tide Shaper. We don't have a chance against this card here. So let's pass the turn. Flare of Denial is incredibly good in a mono blue creature deck, as expected. My opponent played Soporific Springs, paying life again. They are... Oh, my opponent is not attacking here. They want to draw cards, I see. Will they do it now? No? Okay, let's fetch this now for a Watery Grave. Tapped. And now we'll try to kill Lord of Atlantis, but I'm not sure this is going to work. Let's try. But we don't have other choice. Other good choice, I mean. I'm passing the turn here because I think my opponent will activate this at instant speed. If they don't, I can just cast Otherworldly Gaze there. Yeah, they didn't took the bait. And better, because now I can cast this. Okay, Crab. And this. Another Flare. We don't have time for Crabs, unfortunately. If I cast Crab and then wait for another land, yeah. I think I'll just keep the land once more. We don't have time for that, unfortunately. Let's pass. My opponent plays another untapped land, 5 mana. My opponent is almost killing themselves. Okay, they want to draw 1 extra card now. We have 1 land on top, so I will not cast Dark Blast here. And now I'll pass a turn, and as soon as my opponent activates that Merfolk, I will cast Flare of Malice, paying full price. Okay, they will draw 3. They have 2 cards in their hand. Unless one of them is Flare of Denial or Force of Negation plus Blue Spell, this will resolve. They are thinking, maybe they have something. Okay, they draw 3. This Merfolk is exhausted. We can kill it with Dark Blast. But now my opponent has 6 cards in their hand. And now they have Waterlogged Grove. Let's try to kill this. If this doesn't resolve, at least we will dredge 3. Creeping Show is good. Training 3 is good. Dark Blast is targeting that creature. That creature is not that important to my opponent, so I think this will resolve. Yeah, and it will give us more time to try to resolve our next spells. They'll just draw a card. This is such a difficult matchup to navigate. I think we are doing a good job, but nothing is obvious. Nothing is obvious. I will draw now. Creeping Chill is awful. Let's cast Winter Night Stories. My opponent will obviously counter that. Yeah. I chose to draw here, trying to hit a creature. We have several good draws. Instead of Creeping Chill, any other card could be good here. But now I think I will just dredge and try to resolve my other Winter Night Stories. I don't think it will resolve. Again, same thing. My opponent should have many counter spells at this point, but we must try, right? Dark Blast. Now we have Otherworldly Gaze there. So let's try our other Winter Night Stories. Okay, now it's resolving. We did draw another Creeping Chill, unfortunately. Can we just resolve Creeping Chills and win this game? Can we? Is that possible? Considering our awful graveyard, no Vengevines yet, this is a strong possibility. Let's think. I want Polluted Delta, right? We already have 1 Water Grave and 1 Island in our deck or in our graveyard. Okay, we have 1 basic island in our deck. We can grab it with Polluted Delta and then cast Otherworldly Gaze. So if I want to keep this and Stitcher Supplier, I need to discard Creeping Chill and Creeping Chill. I took a bold route here to test my deck, guys, because I think it will be so hard to win against my opponent's 5 unknown cards. So I'll discard my creature card here, which is a Stitcher Supplier. And now I'll play my Polluted Delta, and I crack my Polluted Delta here to find my basic island. And now on my opponent's turn, I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze. Now, before they draw 1 extra card. Okay, Press Amalgam can go there, and every land. We don't want lands anymore. I will try to kill Merfolk Trickster next turn. Or I can just try to resolve Creeping Chill here. Okay, let's try to kill this. I'll grab this back. Oh, Hedron Overlord on top. And now I'll try to kill it. Okay, we can breathe a little bit more. We still have 1 Creeping Chill in our deck, right? Where are our Vengevines? We don't have Bloodghast anymore. Okay, my opponent will tap a large amount of mana. 5 mana. Oh, a full-priced Silvergill Adept. And they drew another card, 6 cards in their hand. We'll dredge. Otherworldly Gaze now. Yeah. So let's try to kill that. Okay. Let's try to resolve a Creeping Chill. My opponent is considering here. Will this resolve? Okay. We're up to 9. My opponent is down to 5. We can start casting Winter Night Stories for a full price here. My opponent plays Cavern. Is their hand full of lands? And that's it. I think I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze here. Oh, our first Vengevine. Do I keep Syncretic Stupor? I don't think so. Let's put this into our graveyard. And I'll dredge 3. Okay, our frogs were there. Can we keep 1 creature on top or draw something at any moment? My opponent will cast a Trickster. No? No. Okay, my opponent is passing the turn. And now that we have a Dark Blast in our hand, let's just draw. Land. We don't want that. Let's try to resolve our Creeping Chill, keeping Dark Blast in our hand. Okay, my opponent is down to 2. That means, let's see, 1 Creeping Chill, 2, 3. We still have 1 in our deck, right? Let's see. Yeah. If we reveal 1 Creeping Chill, we win the game. But my opponent might have... What is this? Okay, we can try to counter that now. Okay. We have 1 Creeping Chill in our deck. Unless my opponent has consigned to memory, we can win the game by dredging, like Dredge usually does. That would be so unexpected. My opponent is passing with 7 cards in their hand. Okay, considering that, let's dredge. Otherworldly Gaze there. I will cast Otherworldly Gaze. My opponent is considering countering that. No counters. 1 Vengevine. Let's put Vengevine into our graveyard. And I don't want Cephalic Coliseums, but I'll keep 1 on top just in case, because we need to be careful here. Okay, because we have only 5 cards in our deck now. Can we somehow win? My opponent will play another Merfolk, a 3-2, alright. So this would be a counter to our Creeping Chill. Now it's just a 3-2 flash. My opponent might have other Tishana's Tidebinder. Let's see our deck here. Yeah, I think the way I did my sideboard, I cannot win by attacking with Vengevines, unfortunately. Let's draw, and I'll try to resolve our Winter Night Stories here. Let's play Cephalic Coliseum. I will not step any creature. Let's step you, and you, and see if this resolves. Okay, I will draw. Okay, we can try to win with Vengevines next turn, on our last turn. Our last card is Creeping Show. Is our last card Creeping Show? Let's discard creature card, Vengevine, and I'll pass a turn. We have one card in our deck, and it is Creeping Show. And that's pretty weird, because if my opponent has other cards like Consent to Memory, if I cast my 2 creatures, they will win the game. But if they have this, and if I don't know. We cannot do everything. I think I will try to win with Vengevines, but I'm not sure if this is going to resolve. Okay, my opponent plays Tide Shaper without kicking. Oh, they are fading the fear. We have Wonder here, so this will not work. Creeping Show is here. So let's try. I'll cast Prize Amalgam. They'll definitely have an answer, right? They must have answers to both of our plans here. Let's cast Teacher Supplier. 4 Vengevines are triggering. We need only 1 to hit my opponent to win. We have 0 cards in our deck. They have 6 cards in their hand. What are the odds? What are the odds? Okay, Consign to Memory. They will replicate a lot, and we cannot win anymore. We waited too much, unfortunately. But considering what my opponent probably has in their hand, I don't think Creeping Show would also resolve here. Maybe at some point on our previous 5 turns, I should stop dredging and just drawing, trying to hit more creatures. So yeah, we unfortunately are dead. We had a 2-3 finish with this deck. Let's talk a little bit about our new discoveries with CrabVine. Guys, I had lots of fun playing Adrian's deck. I'm not sure if I would build this, considering the current metagame that we have in Modern. I'm not sure if I would build CrabVine exactly like this. Frog is, of course, a powerhouse. We didn't have that many opportunities to cast Winter Night Stories properly here with this deck. I feel like Frog and Vengevines are the only possible hits to cast this in the same turn. But if we have Vengevine and available mana, we probably want to do other stuff instead of tapping our Vengevine to draw 3 more. Considering that we don't have Dredgers in our deck, this will just be a draw 3, discard 2. And I feel like this deck lacks some dredging action. So I will probably rebuild this now. I rebuild this now, and I will record a new league playing my own build of this deck. And you can watch here on this channel tomorrow. If you're not watching this video on the same day it is published, it is probably already available here on my YouTube channel, my build of Dredgevine, not CrabVine, but Dredgevine. With crabs, I think we can still keep crabs. Crab is still one of our best cards here. I already tell you, Adrian, what I don't feel it's working in this build. And in my next video, you can see what I feel it is probably better, but more experiments are needed to be sure. I don't think we have space for 4 copies of Overlord. This is a great card, especially against a control deck, like we had a control matchup in this league, and it was amazing. But usually, considering the metagame, the current metagame, I don't think we have time to patiently wait to a 5/5 entering the battlefield. And we probably can change this to another card that will be also a good enabler to our Vengevine action. So let's see if we will include other cards instead of Overlord, or if you just reduce the amount of copies. Vengevine is obviously good, Prize Amalgam is good. I'm not sure about Bloodghast. Of course, in the previous matchup now against Merfolk, if I still had Bloodghast, we could win. Maybe this was just a bad sideboarding, because I'm not experienced with this deck yet. But we needed more answers to, and what to include against this deck, right? What to take from your deck if you're not taking Bloodghast to include removal spells. Maybe we should include at least one, keep one after sideboarding. This was probably too aggressive. But I'm still not convinced that Bloodghast is the best choice here in this deck, because we are not a lone deck. And after that, it is just a slow plan. Casting Otherworldly Gaze is trying to hit 1 land drop and then attacking with Bloodghast. Your opponent might have several Eldrazi, Merfolk, or other creatures to block your Bloodghast if you don't have Wonder. This Teacher Supplier is also a little bit sketchy because we don't have obvious ways to sacrifice it in this deck. So this is just oops, I clicked here and everything came back. But Teacher Supplier seems like a worse Merfolk Secret Keeper in this deck, because we could at least mill 4 cards and then delay or cast trigger to turns 2 or 3 when you probably have some Vengevines in the mix. I don't know, I will consider something here. I'll stop recording now. I hope you did enjoy this league here with me, playing CrabVine. Almost a Dredgevine, but we had only 2 Dredge cards there. I did enjoy this league. I think we can do better. If you have anything that can be productive here, any thoughts how to improve this idea of a Vengevine deck with crabs, but also with dredges, please let me know here in the comments below. And I see you soon in tomorrow's video. Bye.